Making headlines tonight, President Trump and Vladimir Putin met today in Alaska for the first time since Russia launched its war in Ukraine. Putin's first U.S. visit in a decade ended with no clear word on what the two leaders agreed to. WSAV's Christine Quayle spoke with a retired U.S. diplomat about what it could mean.
Yes, Tina. So starting this afternoon, President Trump and his counterpart entered into talks on U.S. soil, marking Putin's first visit to the U.S. in 10 years and since he launched the war in Ukraine 3.5 years ago. In that time, thousands of Ukrainians have died, and while President Trump said he wants to see a ceasefire, all we know now is that the two leaders have reached some sort of consensus, but no further details. President Trump and Russian President Putin meeting in Anchorage, Alaska Friday afternoon for a summit that was anticipated to last late into the evening. However, after just a couple of hours, both leaders emerged to say only that their negotiations went well.
There were many points that we agreed on, most of them I would say, a couple of big ones that we haven't quite gotten there, but we've made some headway.
The president saying earlier in the day that he would not negotiate on behalf of the Ukrainians. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky notably absent from the summit.
I'll, of course, call up President Zelensky and tell him about today's meeting. It's ultimately up to them.
Experts like retired senior foreign service officer with the U.S. State Department, Lawrence Silverman, echoing that sentiment.
The best job that President Trump can do is really pressing Mr. Putin to say, this is the time, now, end it. And by the way, if you don't end it, there is the prospect of much harder sanctions. As a result of this, are we closer to these heavier, really more damaging sanctions against Russia, or are we further away? Did Mr. Trump take them off the table or move them back a little bit or not? And Congress is going to want to know that as well, and I think the American people will want to know that.
Though it's unclear at this point whether the two leaders have reached a deal on the war, Silverman emphasizing the importance of President Trump staying on track.
The president should not be swayed by Mr. Putin talking about things other than what should be the central issue, and the one by which I think a summit, the success or failure of a summit would be judged.
Days and weeks, we expect to learn more about what exactly was discussed in that meeting between Putin and Trump. But as President Trump said earlier today, immediately following the summit, quote, "There's no deal until there's a deal." Christine Quayle at WSAV News 3 on your side.